What's going on? My name's Meredith and I wanted to show you guys a version of the 10-minute beat challenge. So I'm sure you've seen this done before. Basically you set a timer and within those 10 minutes you come up with a song or at least a song idea. And I've seen a lot of producers do this, but I haven't seen as many vocalist producers do this. So I'm gonna show you how I kind of create my bones of a song and then lay down a vocal idea. And then by the end I have a verse and a chorus within those 10 minutes. And I hope that it's helpful. So something that's been really helpful to me is something called a beat challenge, a 10-minute challenge, a timer challenge, whatever you want to call it, where you get a finite amount of time, you set a timer, and then you force yourself to come up with concrete ideas in that time. Sometimes having the pressure of having to turn something in or share something at the end of that time really kind of helps light a fire under my ass to be able to actually complete an idea instead of getting into the whole is this the best idea? Could there be something better sort of thing. As a vocalist, like I said, a lot of times my vocal, my message and the lyrics is kind of what I'm focused on. But if I don't have a track that sort of supports the vibe of my vocal, then the vocal's not as impactful. And so a lot of times I think vocalists sort of get into this mindset of they can't produce because I'm sure we've all worked with producers who are super talented, multi-talented, you know, play 9 instruments and can do Pro Tools and Ableton and Logic and at the same time blindfolded. And so you kind of get this thing in your mind, or at least I did, that you know, I wasn't going to be able to make a complete song, which is totally not true. And yes, I did end up going to school for this because I found that I really liked being able to have the ability to make a whole song by myself. But it's totally, totally doable for anyone. And with things like Splice, it makes really anything possible, especially if there's certain areas or instruments, whether it's drums or bass lines or whatever. If you kind of struggle with creating those things, there's lots of tools that you can access that can sort of fill in the gaps for you. Have an idea come to fruition in 10 minutes with a vocal. Full disclosure, if I were going to fully produce out this idea, which usually I do, I take these little challenges and I sit down later and I fully flesh the production out. And I re-record the vocals and I stack the vocals and do harmonies and whatever. But in this challenge, I'm going to show you like the very, very, very bare minimum. So any sort of like, you know, audio effects are really like the ones that are super important to the feeling that I'm trying to get across. But this is by no means scratching the surface of what you can do or what's available to you or what you're going to see in other videos. It's really just to encourage people that are maybe intimidated by producing, vocalists or people that don't even want to sing but want to produce. This is really just to show you that it's totally doable. It's actually pretty easy as long as you have an inspiration to sort of be able to pull from when you're writing. The rest of these tools are totally accessible. Let's get into it.
Okay, so here's a little preview of what I'm going to be breaking down today.
It feels like the end. I know. It feels like nothing's gonna change. It feels like the end. I know. It feels like nothing's gonna change, but they just stay the same every day. Oh, they just stay the same. When's it gonna end? I'm losing hope. I'm losing hope. I'm losing hope. When's it gonna change?
Okay, so what I started with was I went to Splice and I got really inspired by this piano loop. This is the second half. So basically, I figured out that this loop was at 70 BPM. So I put it into this session and I made sure that this session BPM was the same. You obviously could warp this, but we're not going to get that deep today. Okay, so the next thing I did was I wanted to add some drums. So I went and I got a loop that I felt was kind of chill. It sounds like this. And then I just added an EQ to give it more of like a filtered lo-fi effect. Okay, so the next thing that I did was I got a bass line. I made this in Serum, which it's a VST to make synths. There's 9,000,000,000,000 people on the internet teaching Serum, so I'm not going to go into that today. But basically, I just wanted something kind of bouncy and moody to fill out the low end. Okay, and then the meat and potatoes was I wrote this vocal.
It feels like the end. I know. It feels like nothing's gonna change.
Okay, so I wrote this vocal, and here's what it sounds like with just a little bit of tuning on it.
It feels like the end. I know. It feels like nothing's gonna change.
And then I added some CLA vocals, I added some reverb, and here we go.
It feels like the end. I know. It feels like nothing's gonna change. It feels like the end. I know. It feels like nothing's gonna change. But they just stay the same every day. Oh, they just stay the same. When's it gonna end? I'm losing hope. I'm losing hope. I'm losing hope. When's it gonna change? When's it gonna change?
Cool, I hope that was helpful. I'm going to try to make more videos from my perspective, which is a vocalist who produces, because I really want to encourage vocalists to be able to produce their own stuff. I think that it's super important to have the ability, if you need it, to fully flesh out a song idea without another creative mind or creative brain interfering, so that you can fully get your sound out of you. And then if you want to later collaborate with other people and other producers and other writers, that's awesome. But I think having the option to at least know what your essence, what your sound is like, it's going to give you a leg up. So I hope this video was helpful, and we'll see you in the next one.